secret's out. I am a former FBI special agent.
Can you even work in the IT industry?
I did spend roughly 4.5 years working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
What do you prefer, the technology industry or the world of the FBI?
And that's really the bread and butter of the FBI, how you develop trust. Being an individual contributor on an organization chart does not mean that you cannot lead.
Hello everybody! Today we have another video that will talk about sales, innovation, go-to-market strategy, and anything that will help you with your leadership skills. How can we learn leadership by influence with an ex-FBI agent? How do you go from an individual contributor to a great manager and make a big impact? Do you really need to be manager of managers to make a leadership position? Max, welcome. Thank you so much for spending your time with all of us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me about you. Who are you? I mean, can you even work in the IT industry?
I can, and I appreciate the introduction. I guess it's secret's out. I am a former FBI special agent, and I did spend roughly 4.5 years working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, both as a special agent and as a consultant. And then after that, I took a turn in my career and continued in consulting, and eventually led me to be here at SAP.
Amazing. And what can you tell us about the skill sets of former FBI agents to the world of technology?
Well, you know, before technology specifically, what we got trained on in Quantico was around leadership. And for that, it was all around communication, how you engage with each individual. And that's really the bread and butter of the FBI, how you develop trust and other ways to make sure that you can lead men and women to an objective. That was one of the main things that the FBI taught me.
What do you prefer, the technology industry or the world of the FBI?
Well, on TV, it's very cool to be an FBI agent, or in the movies. But I actually have found, for me, being in a tech company, in a global tech company, I can make more of an impact being here versus being in my previous roles.
Amazing. So speaking of impact, what's your impact in this company today?
So I have a global role, and I'm on the marketing team that is responsible over our localization portfolio, which has over 1,100 versions of software of SAP's most flagship applications. And I have the opportunity to lead marketing strategy, go-to-market, and other levers that help grow the business and position it all over the world.
But there are a lot of people that are listening to us that they are individual contributors looking to a path for a leadership position. Can you share with us what's your philosophy of leadership?
Yeah, and it's a great question. And the way I think about leadership is leadership through influence. It started for me 20 years ago, and I continue to work on those concepts through different points of my career. And being an individual contributor on an organization chart does not mean that you cannot lead. In fact, it gives you the opportunity to look at things a little bit differently and to understand how people are motivated, what they believe in, and ultimately how they can get to where we need them all to go.
But it's not easy, right? Because when people have a manager and you need to influence them to do something that will add value much broader than what they are doing with their managers. What are the secrets? Is there anything as a former FBI agent you apply to get it done?
Yeah, so going back into my roots, the way that the FBI thinks about how you have people, work through tasks, work through different initiatives, is making them believe that it's in the right interest for them to do it. In the FBI, it's to the interest of the United States government. Within SAP, it's to the benefit of themselves, or their teams. So the way I transitioned that thought is by really getting to understand each individual on a one-on-one basis. That meant waking up a little bit earlier, like 4 a.m., so I meet more of their time in different regions. And once I understood what they believe in, it's more of how we can believe in the same mission. And once we do that, then we can advance to the next piece of valuable motivation is, what will it mean if we do things together? Versus me telling you what to do. What if you flip it around and you empower that person to do it because they believe it? Once they believe it and are motivated, wonderful things start happening.
But how do you keep a large number of people that are being led over influence engaged? How do you follow up on the influence model?
The folks that sit and do good work here, they get rewarded for something that's not globally visible, but is visible to the region, whether it's sending an email to an executive in LAC, whether it's just having that direct one-on-one with their supervisor. They understand that when they do successful work for the broader mission, they will get rewarded. And at the same time, something will advance ultimately to the ultimate milestone, which is the big reveal. So micro wins, reward, cycle of success all fuels the right motivation for the folks to continue to believe that this is the right thing to do.
One of the biggest enemies would be the ego. How do you manage the egos and get everybody in a humble environment of positive impact?
Egos are a very critical portion of how ultimately people claim that what they did is in fact theirs or mine or whatever. So for me, and if you get to know me a little bit more, you see that I rarely put I in anything that I write. Everything is plural. Everything, the pronouns that we use are our, we, team. There really is no I in any of those things. So we reinforce that. Does it cut over in different languages and different cultures? Not always, but this is where working through the networks, working across teams, being present in different regions shows that when someone delivers, it's not someone like Max that gets credit, it's the people that do the work that get credit, and that lands. And when that lands over and over and over again, we create a positive loop of delivery, of success. And then, well, there'll be some people that say, hey, this wasn't done under my team, but the ultimate mission, and when the projects become visible enough, the positive themes all dominate over anything that's more isolated. So it's been working. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's been working.
You are a leader in a big global organization, and a lot of people would like to become leaders of global organizations. What are the transferable skills that you think people should focus on in order to be prepared for a big global leadership role?
The leader who is the most curious often wins. Naturally curious leaders who ask the right questions and roll up their sleeves to show that they will be there just as early, leave just as late. And through time, not a lot of time, those couple fundamental pieces really help leaders who are new to their role or new to the category they lead really understand what the problem is and what the opportunity could be.
If someone wants to be promoted to a leadership role, how long does it take? What they have to do, and what is the time frame of preparation to get there?
Whenever you get a job, you don't have to do just your job. You can always do more. Doing more doesn't mean you have to work more. It just means ask a colleague for how you can help. Ask a coworker that's in a different board area and how you can maybe aid or learn more about that. The more someone knows about other people's core responsibilities, the more opportunities will be presented to you. That's really what general management is. And that's where, again, as people see things get delivered, they ask, well, who's really leading that? And naturally, hopefully, the global team sees that as more things get done, what is the team that is doing that work? And then they select the individuals who ultimately get to lead those initiatives.
Awesome. Now, how do you see the artificial intelligence workflow as part of the skill set of the future leaders? How we get ready for embracing those agentic AIs to become the future leaders?
As a leader, you think about, okay, do I jump in now Do I wait? But waiting doesn't seem to be the answer because things just happen too fast. So the way I like to think about it is artificial intelligence is net positive. Learn about how it can apply to you, to the teams, to the periphery, to the teams that you work with daily, weekly, and then figure out a way to use it. And use it doesn't mean you have to be transactional in it, have to go to the root, but use it in a smart way, whether it's to fact check marketing work, whether it's to help out with different pieces of design. Use it positively, let the people you work with understand what's positive about it, and then continue to evolve as fast as it does to you because it's going very fast.
Well, everybody, you can tell that this conversation is going in a very positive direction. I'm learning so much. I mean, every day I have the pleasure to meet experts, people with a lot of knowledge and experience. And through this channel here, we can share with you in a very structured way. So stay until the end, you will love it. Max, what do you know that not many people know, you think they should know?
Yeah, so we didn't spend too much time talking about my responsibility, but it's always interesting for me when I go to different conferences or go to different offices, I'll be in our Seattle office next week, is how much people know or do not know about one of our top absolute differentiators at SAP, which is localization. And the reason I say that is, up until a few years ago, we didn't actively market this category, which we're the clear winner in tech and in almost every industry in every category we can think of. And what localization does is it positions our software to the region, to the state, to the country, and across regulation, legal, compliance, unit measure, language, you name it, and really presents an awesome way for our sales colleagues to go and say to any multinational or anyone who's expanding into new regions, why would you not choose SAP? Because we're so far number one, our competition's not even worth mentioning because we're 6 to 7x farther out in this area and we're only starting.
That's it, everybody. Localization is one of the best kept secrets of SAP. And I'm here with Max, and I'm gonna ask him to break down what localization is in SAP and how does that work exactly? How localization creates that competitive advantage? Max, break it down for us in simple terms, how localization works.
Yeah, so let's pick a country probably near and dear to your heart, Brazil. So in Brazil, if you wanted to deploy software and you're based in the United States and you're entering Latin America, and Brazil is the obvious play, what do? Do you go and buy software that was built in Brazil by a Brazilian company and then integrate it into your back office, whether it's financial, whether it's human capital, logistics, whatever it is you're looking to do? Or do you take a bigger bet and say, I'm going to go with a software provider like SAP who can not only do Brazil for me, but it can do Argentina, Colombia, Peru, you name it, anywhere in the region, and can go into every other market. So localization allows that customer the opportunity to work with our software and to pass it across all the back office of all the different divisions. And the software is localized to the specifications of that country, which means it can understand tax rules, it can understand regulations, and anything in between across what you choose to bring into your area. And that is such a powerful message to the CFO, to the CIO, to think of, hey, I can only deploy one company, 3-4 different pieces of software, and it's going to work across all these different countries. Because when it comes to a quarterly close, when it comes to an IT transformation, when it comes to ordering big procurement deals, I'd rather not go country by country and deal with different APIs and software hooks, where I can just deal with one. And that is 60 seconds on localization or so, but apply that across companies they're in 40 countries, or on 4 different continents. Why go across all of that on all different vendors when they can just go with one?
How do you think SAP will be prepared for the next 50 years?
Yeah, so 50 in AI, that's just way too long. So for me, let's just focus on the next 1 to no more than 3, because no one knows past that far. I remember being in this office at the end of last year, and the person who was responsible to market our AI, he and I did something with another colleague in this room right here, in another room. And back then, we did not have a chief AI officer. Fast forward to starting this year, we do now. We have a whole team. It focuses and thinks about AI every single minute of every single day. It's a global team, and fundamentally, from engineering to marketing to sales to anything, its sole purpose is to how to make SAP's AI position is better. That's a great thing. Not every company is there yet. We are. If you unpack what AI will mean to SAP, yes, we have our Joule digital assistant that cuts across many different applications. That's just a starter kit. I think that's just how people can engage and understand what SAP's AI can do. But underneath sits all this massive data. And that's where our AI opportunity is. That opportunity, 53 years of SAP is really where it's going to help us as we grow our AI capabilities, as we grow our AI models, as we look to better position our company as AI first, which I think at one point we will, if not yet. And all those things are coming. I think they're coming much sooner than people anticipate. I think next year is going to be an exciting time around this category for us.
Awesome. Now, just to get one aspect of your experience that is very interesting, you've been dealing with teams worldwide. I mean, everywhere in the globe, you've been mentoring and working with leaders. So how do you see the difference between the leadership style in different regions?
Yeah, and this is my favorite part. People ask, what's the number one thing at SAP? I told you earlier, it's the flexibility. So I get to go from 4 a.m. local time till whenever I'm done, and really working across the regions. I wasn't born in this country, so I've spent time in my younger days internationally. Now I spend just as much time dealing with business problems, and every culture has a different way of attacking it. And I think that's fascinating. And for me, learning how we do business in Singapore and Japan is different than we do business in Brazil or United States or in between. And the way I start is not to talk about the business problem. The way I always start when I meet a new leader is to find 15 minutes. I did that this morning. I spent 15 minutes with someone who's based in Sao Paulo. We spent a few minutes understanding, how things were around the holidays with each other before we got into actual thinking about what 2025 looks like. And in those small moments, you can accomplish a lot, learn a little bit about the family, about the culture, about the holidays that are coming up. And then from there, we can continue to do things that are more business oriented, because there's always time for that. But people don't think about the smaller things. We call it in the FBI rapport building. That word rapport, I don't know how it's translated in every language, is absolutely fundamentally crucial to how I do things. Without me knowing who you are, without us spending some time walking around, I would have never said yes to this. And for me, that until I get to know you, especially if there's natural chemistry, that's when I get really excited to do more things.
Now let's talk about the future. We are at the end of 2024, quite an interesting year. And going into 2025, what are your predictions?
Well, I think let's just start with tech. So as technology sector continues to evolve, companies continue to pursue the ultimate cloud wins and things like that. I just spent this morning talking with our financial team to see what that looks like. I can't share that in this podcast, but for us, it looks positive at SAP where we position ourselves. For the people that choose to work here, because again, it's still at will, you can go somewhere else if you want. You can start your own business. I think the outlook has never been brighter. I've been in this space for over 15 years, either in consulting or now in the technology company, and I'm just as bullish as I ever been. The reason for that is I have more things at my fingertips than I've ever have, and it continues to be available to me. And our company does invest in the right technology. We build some of that ourselves. So we're in a good spot. We have a global footprint. The sector is in an amazing trajectory for now. How AI will change that trajectory, that I don't know. But I think if you think about yourselves, are you in a good company? Yes or no? Yes. Will we win? Likely yes. And are you in the right industry? Absolutely. So those three things are there. Could some people who are more risk seeking choose to go in a startup or in a lower market cap company? Maybe, and that's a good thing too. I think that's always good. Natural movement is always good. Don't wait for attrition to get you. And if anyone on my team ever wants to go or needs a referral, I'm always the first person that will say, here, go here, I'll help you whatever I can.
Thanks for joining us today and watching until the end. Wasn't it fascinating to learn from Max, a former FBI special agent who's not only incredibly knowledgeable, but also genuinely friendly? If you found value in this conversation, please subscribe to our new podcast channel so you never miss future episodes. Share your questions for Max and me in the comments. We would love to hear from you and possibly host a live Zoom Q&A. If there is interest, let us know if that's something you would be excited about. Until then, keep learning, keep leading, and we will connect again in the next video.